Don't be stressing on the dumb shit, 'cause God is gonna make a way. Just keep going and keep your faith, so you can win this race. This race called life, yeah, yeah. This race called life. This race called life, yeah, yeah. Race called life. Yeah, 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 yeah. Grinding 'cause I know that I'm gon' get it. I just gotta have vision, keep faith and be humble. They have some patience with it. I've been A1 since day one, been always on my job. I never been a fake, never had to steal and rob, 'cause I
Is in here. Podcast number 1. I did it, y'all. I'm late. I'm sorry. Yesterday was Easter Sunday, Hope y'all had a good holiday weekend. Peace to the family. We got to start off with that. You already know I'm the host with the most, A1. You know what I came to do. This is Truth Channel. You feel me? Or my homie call me Mr. Receipts. That's what we doing today. The title of this episode is Where Did Moses Get the 10 Commandments From? Moses Exposed. Moses, I'm coming for you, baby. I'm on your heels, baby. I'm on your heels. Hey, we at you. You feel me? And pretty much, the controversy of Moses. I'm not the only one tapped into this. It's a lot of people on both sides of this, and they adamant about their beliefs. You know what I'm saying? And this isn't the belief channel. So disclaimer right now, if you bringing beliefs to a gunfight, you're going to lose. You feel me? We coming with facts. We getting you up out of here with Moses, because a lot of this ain't adding up, Moses. 2 + 2 is not 5, and I'm not about to let y'all try to convince me that it is. You feel me? I want to shout out myself for doing this. That artwork in the beginning, that's me. That's Bam on that intro song, Bam Bam from Cleveland. 216 Bam, check him out. Look him out up on YouTube and all other platforms. Definitely. Where we starting at with Moses today, man? Moses. I'm gonna take my time, man. I'm smoking on some good gas today. Today it ain't no rush, man. Y'all just kicking it with me. I'm about to run down these facts and receipts for y'all, man, and we about to get it popping, man. Go ahead and move myself down here. I like that a little bit better. So that way that doesn't block any of the pictures or anything I'm about to show y'all. And before we get into the 10 Commandments, I want to give y'all a little background history on this guy. You feel me? This guy was a bad man, and I'm not sure if you guys know about Moses. Jesus is one of the most talked about characters of the Abrahamic trilogy. But this guy Moses was an important character, and without a Moses, you don't have the rest of the Bible, and that's what people don't seem to understand. So, when you look at pictures of Moses, first of all, they give you this guy. This guy doesn't look like he lived in the Middle East at any point in time. Where's your tan, son? What's going on? Who is this guy? This guy looked like he was with the Vikings. But okay, anyway, we have him part in the Red Sea. This is representative of. Now, anytime they come with a Christian, Jewish, Muslim history, what they do is they gonna give you drawings or they gonna give you pictures. Never artifacts, never anything in stone, never any of that. It's always pictures and drawings and more stuff out the Bible. I can see, though, that's another topic for another podcast. We're gonna get to that one day. Moses was sent up a reed basket up the Nile. He spent 40 years in Pharaoh's palace, spent 40 years as a runaway after he killed one of Pharaoh's soldiers, then spent 40 years in the desert lost with the Israelites after he saved his people. This reed basket thing, first of all, completely unoriginal. We're gonna get into that. That's a story that's been told before. Second, You know, Moses is supposed to be the author of the first 5 books of Genesis. So if Moses isn't authenticated, then nothing in the Bible can be authenticated. Anything after that, by default, is going to be fruit of a poisonous tree. Get it out of here. You feel me? Who wrote Genesis and the first 5 books of the Torah? Tradition credits Moses as the author of Genesis, as well as the books of Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and most of Deuteronomy. But modern scholars, especially from the 19th century onward, see them as being written hundreds of years after Moses is supposed to have lived, in the 6th and 5th century BC. So even right here on Google, it tells you modern scholars, especially from 19th century onward, see them as being written hundreds of years after Moses. You see what I'm saying? Just this is the base information that we have to go off of. But a lot of times when you see me making my post online, you know, the people discard stuff like that we're operating off this base. These are base historical facts. You know what I'm saying? We can, the word is called historicity. Hold on, let me pull this up real quick. Historicity. Because all we're trying to do is determine the historicity. You can't bring beliefs to a truth fight. You can't bring beliefs to a fact fight. You feel me? And that's the problem. That's what we got going on, you know? Y'all keep wanting to come with this nonsense, and all we looking for is some basic facts. Ooh, I'm getting too far ahead. I'm showing y'all I'm dropping all the tea. Historicity. Historicity is the historical actuality of a person and events, meaning the quality of being part of history instead of being a historical myth. See, it's like this. 100 years from now, right? Let me come back over here. 100 years from now, we may have people arguing, trying to say Spider-Man was real. You see what I'm saying? And they actually may have a legitimate case. They may say, look at all these books. They wrote comics about him. They personified him. All these people every year wearing Spider-Man costumes for Halloween. He was a real person. I mean, you can see all of that, but that doesn't determine the historicity of a person. And this is how religion is. It's like trying to prove that Spider-Man is real. And then when you ask somebody to prove that Jesus is real, they go to the comic and read something out of the comic. Like Spider-Man said, people will come before and question him. Don't follow them. Like that doesn't work, fam. You have to do a peripheral investigation. You have to determine the historicity. You have to see if other people who were documenting things at this time, during that time period, such as historians, poets, scientists, anybody was documenting these events. And I'm sure that stories of a man walking on water, healing the sick, feeding people with this many fish and this loaves of bread would travel fast. Now, you know, according to what they tell us, they didn't have cell phones back then, but still word of mouth travels really fast. You know what I'm saying? So somebody would have documented this. Somebody would have heard of this. And this story wouldn't have come out 100 years after these men supposedly have lived. And even that's still up for debate, you know, because some people have it dated as 500 years after these men have lived. And this is how you determine the historicity of a person. You know, when it comes to anything biblical, you know, this stuff just doesn't stand up. The historicity of it, you can't prove it. And this is why you have to believe, you know, and I'm not coming for anyone's beliefs, but when you try to bring beliefs to a true fight, it just doesn't work, you know. And here we have Dr. Anto. He says, I enjoy researching subjects. I tend to read a lot of stuff that some might find boring, but I can't find independent evidence of the existence of Moses outside of a few chapters in the Bible and the tradition of his existence. Egyptian history has no reference to the 7 plagues, including the killing of their firstborn, and no record of a slave revolt. And mind you, we kept records of everything. We have records up until way after the point that they said that Moses was there trying to save the Hebrews. There wasn't a Hebrew hand that touched one of them pyramids. Those pyramids were built way before the time that the Hebrews were supposed to have lived. You know, archaeologists have already proven that. That's some more base information that you guys should get. And I wish I had a slide for that, you know. We're going to double back on the next one and make sure that I get you guys that. But this is what I mean when I say determining the historicity. There is no reference to any of this happening anywhere in history other than in the Bible. So again, we have you going to the Spider-Man comic to try to prove Spider-Man is real. Do you see the problem here? Do you see the problem? Or am I? But I'm crazy. I'm tripping though. You see what I'm saying? And that's why I'm doing this, because a lot of times people that see my post and see the things that I talk about and see the things that I research, and they'll try to attack me, and they'll say like, "You don't believe in the book, brother?" And I'll be like, no, I believe in a higher power, but that's not it. And they'll be like, "Oh, brother, we gonna pray for you," and when they find out like I'm not teaching my daughter this stuff, they throw on all that extra sauce, on top of the other people that say I'm gonna be doomed to purgatory and a place of hell and all of that. You know what I'm saying? So being that as it may, when I have to encounter these people, just cruising through the matrix, I say, you know what I'm gonna do, let's do the research on the Bible. Let's do the research on the Bible, and maybe I'll find something that's just so magnificent, so profound, so astronomical that I have to come back and say, you know what, I apologize. I was dead wrong. Like, this is it. This is the word. And I see now. But when you do the work, when you get into the scripture, it doesn't add up. You see what I'm saying? So I'm here today, and, I'm getting y'all up out of here. And we left off at there's no historical evidence or reference anywhere documented of the 7 plagues or the killing of the firstborn. No record of a slave revolt or an army being lost in pursuit for 40 years. That's another thing. Y'all just think these guys was lost and wandered. And hold on, we'll get there. You know what? I'm getting ahead of myself. So does anyone have evidence anywhere that Moses is more than just a myth? And down here we have Gertrude. Logical deduction points to Moses being a myth. And anybody with critical thinking skills, this is what it's going to lead you to, unless somebody is holding your hand and shielding you from viewing things in context. I say this is how you read in context. Anybody that's looking at it any other way, they're the ones that's got it mixed up and misconstrued, because science doesn't miss. History doesn't lie. People don't write themselves out of history. Do you see what I'm saying? People don't write themselves out of history. Even our history, they couldn't just get rid of it. You see what I'm saying? But, and I'm just, we're going to get to the 10 Commandments. This Moses is titled 10 Commandments. Where did Moses get the 10 Commandments from? Moses exposed. Trust me, I'm on his heels, baby. I just had to poke a couple holes and shoot a couple jabs at Moses just to show this is why I'm doing this, because this doesn't add up. You know what I'm saying? And I gave y'all a little rope to hang yourselves. Now I'm about to kick the chair from up under y'all. Y'all ain't about to have a leg to stand on when I'm done with y'all after this presentation. You feel me? Let's move on. We're going to go back to the timeline of Moses again. Like I say, he was sent down the river in a reed basket, completely plagiarized. We're going to get to this right here. This guy right here. Anybody know who this is? If you know who this is, drop it in the chat right now. I got $5 cash app for anybody who can name this guy in 30 seconds. And go. Come on now. 20 seconds. $5. I'm cash apping the winner $5. Who got it? Who got it? Okay, I'm going to check this after the chat, and we're going to see who gets that money, baby. Let's go. Okay, I'm telling y'all right now. This is Sargon of Akkad. Name ring a bell? Sargon of Akkad, also known as Sargon the Great. He was the first ruler of the Akkadian Empire, known for his conquest of the Sumerian city-states in the 24th and 23rd centuries. And over here, you see that we have all these relics, carvings of him, evidence You see what I'm saying? But they can't find a strap from Jesus' dusty sandal. They can't find a piece of Noah's Ark. They can't find a piece of the staff. They can't find a remnant of the tablet. And that was supposed to be written in stone. At least you would think they would find that. But we have no evidence supporting the historicity of a person. This is what I mean when I say historicity. Do you see this? He was actually he was a real person. He was a soldier of a powerful city state in Mesopotamia and created the first empire in the world. The first empire in world history was in Mesopotamia. Sargon held important positions in the city of Kush. Culturally, Sargon was Semitic. Look up that and type in Semitic and etymology and see what that goes back to. As it's known, he spoke Akkadian. And, this was a real person. This is, not a myth. Do you feel me? This is when they discovered Sargon. In 1843, French archaeologist Paul-Émile Botot dealt the death blow to this argument. Acting on information he had received about the small village of Korsbad, Iraq, Botot began excavating the site and uncovered the palace of King Sargon. So they discovered the palace of King Sargon, excavating this site based on the word of some locals in the village in 1843 in Iraq, which is not in the middle. The Middle East is Africa. Google a map of Africa and you will see it's all one landmass connected. It's not separate. Like they try to separate it because that's the Europeanization of it. I don't even want to say it's the Europeanization of it, because at one point in time, the Arabs, they do the same thing. They try to say they're the true Egyptians as well. So that would be the Arabization of it. But you have both. When these were black people, and the deeper you dig, the blacker it gets. These people had paint. They had white paint. If they were white people, they would have painted themselves white. Instead, they kept painting themselves chocolate and dark black. Black like rich soil. You feel me? Sargon of Akkadian. Here's the story of Sargon. Woo! This is about to blow the lid off a lot of religious people right here. But this story just goes to prove that the Bible is a collection of stories that have already been told before. This story is nothing new. We already have flood stories with the Epic of Gilgamesh. We already have stories about giants. Like we have stories of Thoth spitting on his hands and healing the blind. We have an immaculate conception with Aset, Asar, and Haru. Do you see what I'm saying? We had a holy trinity with the man, woman, and child, Aset, Asar, and Haru. And the religions that are practiced today are just a watered down synthesis of what we were already practicing. And this is what I'm trying to tell y'all. You feel me? Sargon, the Mesopotamian work known as Sargon, the birth legend, offers the most striking parallels to the biblical story. It relates the birth story of Sargon the Great, an Akkadian emperor who ruled a number of Sumerian city-states around 2000 BC, centuries before the time of Moses. Pay attention to that. The infant boy is born into great peril. His mother is a high priestess and he is illegitimate. Consequently, his mother sets him adrift on a river in a reed basket. The boy is rescued and raised by a gardener named Aki in the town of Kish. He becomes a humble gardener in Aki's service until the goddess Ishtar takes an interest in him, setting him on the path to kingship. Now, we're going to get into Ishtar a little bit later when I go into my lecture on Easter. I let y'all live on the holiday, but I'm about to give it to y'all this week, and we're about to go into the pagan roots of that. But pay attention to this. This is not the first story of, not even story, because we can actualize these events and prove the historicity of this man. Do you see what I'm saying? We can show that he really lived. This isn't the first time a motherfucker got sent up the Nile in a reed basket and went to become a king to lead his people and save his people. You feel me? But they would have you believe in that, Moses like MJ out here. He writing more books than Stephen King. You know what I'm saying? I showed you he wrote the whole first 5 books of the Torah. He wrote Genesis, Leviticus, Deuteronomy. You know what I'm saying? That boy, look. And if you kick his legs out from under him, none of these religions have a leg to stand on. None of these religions I have a leg to stand on. And that's just what it is, man. The truth hurts, man. We're going to get over it, man. I was hurt when I found out the WWF was fake, man. I was like, dang, man, we're going to get over it, though. You feel me? Let's get into these 10 commandments. Hold on, before I skip over, more artifacts, more proof. More proof. Archaeology. Head of King Sargon, Akkadian, 2300 BC, Iraq National Museum. You can go see this right now. They ain't got the crown of thorns Jesus was rocking. They ain't got nothing. And we waiting. Our people's left us the truth in stone for us to see, because they knew one day we was going to forget our history. You see what I'm saying? Now, I'm not necessarily saying he's one of our ancestors, but we was all tribed up and we were at war with each other sometimes. But then, they done took over, and Mayat and the world is in imbalance. We poison in the waters, we poison in the air, we poison in the food. In turn, we walking around with poison minds, and our thoughts are poison. You feel me? That's why that's why I'm doing this. It's time to raise the consciousness of the people, of the planet. Sargon of Acadia. This story of a man being sent up the river in a reed basket is not original. You feel me? Let me come talk to y'all. This story is not original. Now, I have a problem with that. And it's not just because of this story not being original. It's because every major story that we have and play that they put down turns out to be also not original. Immaculate Conception. That's one of the biggest things. When you find, I'm going to do a podcast on that one too. When you find out about the Immaculate Conception, how we had that 2400 years BC. You see what I'm saying? Before the Greeks and Romans came and conquered, took our literature, twisted it to suit their interest, and gave it back to us. You see what I'm saying? And when I get bashed from all different type of angles, that's why if you look at my picture, you see the astronaut, my initial picture for my podcast with the astronaut on the cross. My dad asked me, why did I pick the cross? And it's like, you know what? The podcast is called Astral Projections. So I felt like it was thoughts about the galaxies and the worlds. You know what I'm saying? And that's what astral represents. And the projections were, these thoughts coming from my mind, from me to you. And I chose to put the astronaut on the cross because I'm like, I'm going to be crucified for some of these things I'm saying. People are going to be coming at me hard for some of these concepts I'm pushing and for some of the receipts I'm bringing. Cognitive dissonance is going to kick in on a lot of people, and there's no telling how some people are going to take this information. Some people tapped in and they didn't take the red pill, the blue pill matrix Neo took in the matrix. A lot of people not ready to tap out of the matrix. They're not ready to really learn the true concepts of the foundations of the religions that they believe. And most of these religions, not most, all religion is founded in cosmology. All of this stuff is a story about the stars personified. Even what we were doing in Kemet is a story about the stars personified. Still, we didn't believe in a million different gods. We knew that these were all representations and personifications of a story grouped together so that way a person could be able to grasp the one. They just broke it down into little sections and categories and gave different representations to tell the story. You feel me? Um, Haru is no different than a personification that Old Man Winter is. That we use to tell a story about how winter comes and the seasons change. Do you see what I'm saying? Even every holiday that they have is completely astrological. Every holiday, major holiday that you have in these religions are based around celestial events. Christmas, that's the winter solstice every year. Easter, Lent, uh, Good Friday. This is all based around the spring equinox when they knew it was going to be a time for more light on the earth, growth, and warmth. You know, because we didn't have if we didn't have these technologies like y'all really think we didn't back in the day. In wintertime was a time of mourning, of death. People was dying. Everybody wasn't gonna make it through the winter. You feel what I'm saying? So that's why these holidays and celestial events were celebrated. And we personified these stories to tell them, to easily tell them to children. But as an adult, you're supposed to share childish things, like it says in the book, and you're supposed to get into the studies. You're supposed to get into, you know what I'm saying? You're supposed to start learning this. You're not supposed to still be going off of the myths like Santa is real. And it's okay. We're going to get over it. You know what I'm saying? I got over it too. You know what I'm saying? I'm a preacher's son. I was shocked. I'm a preacher's son and grandson. 82nd and Superior, Emmanuel Christian Center, Cleveland, Ohio. You see what I'm saying? So, you know, shout out Pastor William Marbury, my granddad. You feel me? I know what it is, man. We had it rocking. We took care of the whole community. You know, so I was being groomed to be a preacher as well. And look at me today. But with knowledge comes understanding and wisdom. You know, but let's get into this. Moving forward, Moses supposed to have written Exodus as well. God was a bad man. Let's get into the story of Moses. Let me tell you how Moses was born. Now, a man of a tribe of Levi married a Levite woman, and she became pregnant and gave birth to a son. When she saw that he was a fine child, she hid him for 3 months. But when she could hide him no longer, she got a papyrus basket for him, coated it with tar and pitch. Then she placed the child in it and put it among the reeds along the bank of the Nile. His sister stood at a distance to see what would happen to him. Then Pharaoh's daughter went down to the Nile to bathe, and her attendants were walking along the riverbank. She saw the basket among the reeds and sent her female slave to get it. She opened it and saw the baby. He was crying, and she felt sorry for him. This is one of the Hebrew babies, she proclaimed. Now, let me pause right here, because what we're going to do right here is go into the etymology of Hebrew. And there's a couple more words. I wish I brought the slides on the etymology up, but I rushed this one. But, say, don't worry, we're going to double back and do a part 2 on this, because it's going to be a lot on Moses that I don't touch on today. But I'm about to give Moses the business for sure. He's going to want a rematch after what I do to him. Trust me. Hebrew, late Old English, French, Ibri, from Latin, Ibraeus, from Greek, Ibraeos, from Aramaic, Semitic, Ibri, corresponding to Hebrew, Ibri, an Israelite, traditionally from an ancestral name, Eber, but probably literally one from the other side of the river, perhaps in reference to the river Euphrates, or perhaps simply signifying immigrant. So the word Hebrew simply means one from the other side of the river, or an immigrant. It was never a God's chosen people. And when people the reason I'm pulling up the etymology on this, what etymology is the true origin of the word. When people translate the text, they don't translate the culture. And this is the problem that we have. A lot of people are lost in translation. We have people running around claiming to be God's chosen people when it wasn't a chosen people. It was just a term used to reference someone from the other side. The people on that side probably called the people on that side Hebrews. You see what I'm saying? This is just what the word meant. region or other side. And again, you can't find any text or document from this time mentioning a Hebrew at all. And the people don't write themselves out of history. No other poets, historians, and people were writing at this time. We had Greek philosophers coming out of Egypt left and right, giving y'all Pythagorean theorem. It's some stuff they gave him when he went and studied in Egypt. You got Plato, you got Homer. We could keep going. All the people that y'all consider greats went and studied at the footstool of the scholars of Egypt and the schools in Egypt. We're going to do episode 2 on the great schools of Egypt, and I'm going to go into those because they destroyed a lot of those, but we're going to tap into that on another one. But this is what Hebrew means. Hebrew is literally just one from the other side of the river, in reference to the Euphrates. So this word just simply meant immigrant or somebody from the other side of the river. They taking this whole word out of context and trying to say it was a special group of people. Anyway, then his sister. So this just goes to show that the story of a man being sent down the Nile in a reed basket is completely unoriginal. It's already been done. We already have it documented as to actually happening 2,000 years before y'all. You know what I'm saying? And it's like y'all just gonna vanilla ice the whole situation. And I don't like that. I'm not feeling that. I'm not rocking with that. That don't sit right with me. Like y'all can't just come jock our style, take our stuff, try to spit it back to us and have me out here checkering or whatever to the Beach Boys. I'm not going. You know what I'm saying? It's not gonna work. I'm rocking with Lenny Kravitz. I'm not bumping Elvis. Y'all not just gonna take our stuff and try to give it right back to us, man. I'm BB King, not Elvis. That reference was a little off. But y'all get what I'm saying. You see what I'm saying? Then his sister asked Pharaoh's daughter, "Shall I go and get one of the Hebrew women to nurse the baby?" "Yes, go," she answered. So she went and got the baby's mother. Pharaoh's daughter said to her, "Take this baby and nurse him for me. I will pay you." So the woman took the baby and nursed him. When the child grew older, she took him to Pharaoh's daughter, and he became her son. She named him Moses, saying, "I drew him out of the water." And if you do the etymology on Moses, that's another episode. Like I said, we're going to do a part 2 on this because there's a lot of holes to poke in Moses. So Moses then became Pharaoh's son. For 40 years, he lived in his kingdom and learned, educated in all the ways. You feel? 40 years. And then all of a sudden, he sees the soldiers beating up one of the Hebrews. He goes to try to save the Hebrew, ends up attacking the soldier, ends up killing him, gets scared, runs off, and goes and hides in the desert for another 40 years. I'm just giving you the timeline. Now let's fast forward. Acts 7:22. We're going to go to the scripture right here. Pull out your Bibles. Don't get rid of your Bibles, my brothers, my kings and queens. Keep your Bibles. If you don't have one, invest in one. Because there's a lot of good stuff in there. There's a lot of stuff you're going to need to know. You're going to need your tools in your toolbox when they come to attack you. You know what I'm saying? So keep your Bibles. Acts 7:22. Moses was learned in all the wisdom of the Egyptians, which was then celebrated in all the world and for many ages after. Geography, geometry, arithmetic, astronomy, natural history, psychic, and hieroglyphics are all mentioned by ancient writers as branches of Egyptian literature. So again, it says Moses was learned in all, not a little bit, not the subjects he liked. You feel me? All of the ways and all of the wisdom of the Egyptians. And that brings me to this. What that brings me to is the 10 Commandments. If Moses was learned in all the ways of the Egyptians, there is no way that he could not know about the 42 negative confessions. Let me look at these little stone tablets. Where are these at, fam? What museum are these at? How come y'all haven't found these yet? But y'all can find all our stuff. Y'all done made a whole scientific study around a study of where all of this came from. It's called Egyptology. Anytime you add that ology on there, like psychology, biology, physiology, that's the study of. We don't have a Christianology because y'all ain't got no. Look, I'm not gonna go there. I'm not gonna go there. I can see y'all got it. Y'all got it right now. Okay, let's keep it moving. The 42 negative confessions. Hold on one second. Let me show you what this comes out of, too. This comes out of a book called The Egyptian Book of Life, the Peta Imheru. They've renamed it the Egyptian Book of the Dead in a way to demonize our studies and keep you away from it, but they gonna study it. You feel what I'm saying? They gonna study it and do everything they can to keep you away from it. Hold on, I apologize. I'm looking for this. Here we go. Egyptian Book of Life, titled correctly when you go on Amazon. A true translations of the Egyptian Book of the Dead. Really called the Peta Imheru. You know what I'm saying? These are English words that we're using to try to describe and define ancient concepts. We didn't call it that. Again, an attempt to demonize our history and scare you away from looking at your roots. Anytime they try to scare you away from something, that's where y'all supposed to look. You hear me? Anytime they trying to scare you away from something, that's where all the truth is. I'm not gonna lie to you. And that's what I've come to find out. So Moses being learned in all the ways of the Egyptians would have to know that the 42 negative confessions is recited 5 times a day in all the temples and palaces. The same way that the Muslims will make a salat. This is all documented. You see what I'm saying? And these hieroglyphs right here. Let me go to the Papyrus of Anu. Let me get rid of that though. This is in the Papyrus of Anu. This is called the Papyrus of Anu. I'm not sure what museum this is in. And here you have them weighing the feather, the heart against the feather, to get into the afterlife. And there's more though. This isn't the whole glyph. It's like cut off, but I apologize about that. Okay, this isn't the whole one either. On this one, there's like this right here is over here too, and it shows him before he goes to get his heart weighed against the feather, and you see the feather being heavier than the heart, meaning that his heart was light, that he had lived a righteous life on earth, came through, passed through, got life. Now he's going to go see his father, Asar. And this is where you get the concept, no man shall come to the Father but through the Son. We already had that. You feel me? We already did that. You dig? And here go to 42 negative confessions. This is where he got the 10 Commandments from. There's no way that he could have lived 40 years in Egypt without knowing these concepts. I have not committed sin. I have not committed robbery with violence. I have not stolen. I have not slain men or women. I have not stolen food. I have not swindled offerings. I have not stolen from God/goddess. I have not been exclusively angry. I have not cursed God/goddess. I have not behaved with violence. I have not caused disruption of peace. I have not acted hastily without thought. I have not exaggerated my words when speaking. I have not stolen what belongs to God/goddess. I have not overstepped my boundaries of concern. I have not. Hey, yeah, that's one I need to work on right there. Number 15. I like that one too. There's a couple more I like. One of my favorite ones is I have not polluted the waters. That's down there somewhere. I have not overstepped my boundaries of concern. I have not cursed anyone in thought, words, or deeds. Woo! Ooh, I need to go, yeah, balance some of these energies and do that one too. 15 and 16. I have not stolen from or disrespected the deceased. And, by me going at Moses like this, it's not disrespect because, frankly, this guy's a myth. We can't even prove that he existed. You see, I'm not, I can see, I have not destroyed property belonging to God slash goddess. I have not taken food from a child. I have not been angry without reason. I have not seduced anyone's wife. Another one I need to work on. Okay. So, all right. It's all right. Don't judge me. You know what I'm saying? I'm not perfect, and nobody is. But we are. This point just goes to show that we already had these principles set in stone. Because people act like without Christianity, what are you going to do? How are you going to be a good person? How would you ever teach your daughter how to? You see what I'm saying? We already had all of this. We already had all of this. I have not closed my ears to truth. Number 22. Number 22 is one of the biggest things that will keep y'all lost out here. I have not closed my ears to truth. And if you've made it this far in the podcast, your ears is halfway open. And I'm hoping that you digesting this. Take it slow though. Don't take it too fast. When I first found out, it was earth shattering for me. Trust me, I'm a preacher's son. Let me come back over here. Hold on. I'm a whole preacher's son. My bad, y'all. I had to get some of that water. My bad, my bad. 2 watches, still late with the podcast. You feel me? But I was a whole preacher's son, man. When I first got this information, man, shout out my woke homies that was trying to bring this to me. I'm not gonna drop no names, but I had some people trying to bring this information to me, out of love, and I rejected it. I was, what do you mean Jesus ain't real? What do you mean? Like nothing, it didn't make sense to me as much as they tried to reach me. And it was like cognitive dissonance took over. And it was like, Jesus being real was like the air I breathe not being real. You can't tell me that the air ain't real. I can't see that either. You know what I'm saying? And this was like, I would say stuff like that and have reasoning like that. And it wasn't until I tried to prove that Jesus actually existed, because as we say, the Bible is a history book. So we should be able to prove this. When you go to try to prove the historicity of Jesus, you're going to be upset at what you find. You're going to be upset at the base history of the scholars when you can't find anything. And the scholars who are objective on these subjects and taking things, if you know anything about getting a PhD and how you have to submit case studies and do all of that stuff, then you will understand how to be objective. And these people are coming at this from an objective point of view and saying that we can't prove the existence of this person. He's proven to be an historical myth the harder we look. So I don't want to look anymore. And that's how a lot of people are. They just put their blinders on. I know a lot of y'all put y'all blinders on when y'all see my post scrolling through Facebook. Y'all try to ignore it. But you can't unsee what you just saw. You can't unsee this. You see what I'm saying? You can't. I just showed you where we have it written in stone on the tablets. Not on the, I apologize, where we have it written in stone on multiple temples in multiple books. Moses is supposed to be writing on some stone in the desert. Come on, man. On the mountain. Man, are y'all high? He might have been, I don't know what bush that was burning. It probably was some good gas. Look at this. Let me go ahead and read this to y'all. 12 gods seated in order as judges. And again, these are Europeans who are trying to define African culture. And I use that term African loosely. I'll get into that later. But we didn't view them as gods. They were, I hate when they use that term. We didn't even have a word for God in our language back then. If you do the etymology on the word God, it's Germanic. It's about from the year 1400. We use the word Neteru, which was nature, and we believe that God lived in all things. So we didn't. Yeah, this is when you get the European concept of it, it's completely misrepresented in an attempt to make it easy to demonize. But anyway, I can see above 12 gods seated in order as judges. And this is where you get the judicial system that we have today as well. They keep taking our stuff, repackaging it, and giving it to you. Why do you think the pyramid's on the back of the dollar bill? Why do you think the pyramid is on the back of the dollar bill? They putting it right in your face, and then they got the top disconnected, reminiscent of how the golden capstone is missing. But that's representative of how we're disconnected from our knowledge, our third eye. And they feeding us fluoride. I'm gonna save that for a whole nother episode. Like I said, I keep getting sidetracked. I can't even read this. I'm gonna start all over. Above, 12 gods seated in order as judges before a table of offerings. Below, the Psychosian or weighing of the conscience, the jackal-headed Anubis, trying in the balance, the heart conscience of the deceased. The heart represents the conscience of the deceased. So this would be all that little stuff that's in the back of your head that eats at you, that you just need to really balance your chakras and do some shadow work and work on. That's what this represents right here, the heart. And if the heart is heavy, you couldn't get into the afterlife. You see what I'm saying? Um, and when I say do shadow work and do some chakra healing, I mean, what a person needs to do is you have to face your fears. You have to face the things that you're scared of. You have to face the things that you regret. Living in regret will make the heart heavy. Being bitter will make the heart heavy, um, amongst other things. But you wouldn't be able to pass on. You probably will come back and be recycled and have to keep living a life in the 3D realm until you were able to pass over with a clear conscience and learn the lessons that you were supposed to learn. But the weighing of the conscience, the jackal headed Anubis tying in the balance of the heart, the deceased against the feather, symbolical of law, symbolical. I haven't heard it used like that. On the left, Ani and his wife in an attitude of devotion. Let's see. Okay. But the key thing right here is where it says above 12 gods seated in order as judges. Because what I want to show y'all is this: they took y'all stuff, repackaged it, and that's how they got y'all goofy butts here. We went from that kings and queens to this. The system that's not working for us. This is how we got the 12 jurors from the 12 supposed gods, as they call them. That's not how we viewed them, though, that judged you into the afterlife. Now, it's not only God can judge me, it's only the judge can guide me, because he decides if you get life or death. He decides if you're going to have freedom or not. He decides when you're going to eat, when you're going to sleep, when you're going to shit, when you're going to piss, when you're going to be able to call home, you're going to be able to talk to your family, when you can see your friends and loved ones. The list goes on. You see what I'm saying? Only the judge can guide you. It's not only God can judge me. What kind of God would judge anyway when he knows he created us with original sin? And if he's all knowing, he should have already foreseen that. That's a whole nother topic for a whole nother podcast, so I can see. Anyway, like I said, we got the scales of my yacht. You see her right here. Her wings represent balance and justice. You always have the scales balanced when you see her. Now let me show you how they took this and corrupted it. You see that? You see that? It says, I find it weird that my yacht scales are always in balance with each other, and the scales of Lady Justice usually show one side outweighing the other. And why she got the sword? You see this right here? The sword, yet be scared of that. Anytime you see that sword, that represents the conquest of the Caucasians, the conquest of Constantine. Constantine made that famous, and that's turned into the cross, because they didn't even hang people on a cross that was shaped like a lowercase t. They hung people on crosses that were capital T's, and their arms hung above their head. Constantine popularized this symbol of the cross, and it turned into the cross that people wear around their neck, representing death. That's one theory. I take that back. I'm not going to state that as if it's fact, because one theory I've also heard is that the cross is a pagan a pagan adaptation of the cross of the zodiac. So two theories on where the cross comes from that people wear on their neck. But again, the scales of Lady Justice today are always out of balance. Sound true? Sounds like 2022, don't it? Sounds like the court system we dealing with right now, don't it? And why she blindfolded? How is she supposed to see justice? You see what I'm saying? She can't see justice. This doesn't make any sense. And they put all of the symbolism is real. They put all of this in your face for a reason. They knew when they brought you over here, you was a human, but they tried to classify you as property as a reason to morally justify in their conscience what they was doing to you. Because even they still believed in the weighing of the heart against the feather or some form of afterlife. So this is how they morally justify what they were doing. They know it was out of balance with nature. Everything they doing is out of balance, man. We are completely out of balance, man. And that's why lectures like this are important. This information is bringing balance back to the world. We have to raise the frequency of the planet. You feel me? So that way everything can come back to the way that it's supposed to be. The planet is alive, y'all. Y'all think it's not. The planet is alive just like you alive. And she can feel everything we doing. And Lady Justice, scale's always out of balance, man. This is not how it's supposed to be. You know, this is just a quick little lecture, though. Nothing too heavy. You know, do one more little last jab at Moses before I get up out of here. Deuteronomy 34:5. New Living Translation. And even when you go to the King James translation or any other translation, it sounds exactly similar to this. Deuteronomy is a book that Moses is supposed to have written. Do you hear me? Do I got to go back and show you? Moses is supposed to have written Deuteronomy. It says it right here. And this is another reason why a lot of scholars don't think he wrote it. I'm about to show you. This man in Deuteronomy writes, so Moses, talking about himself in the third person as he does in all the books that they say are written by him. Either they're not written by him or his ego is out of control, because who talks about themselves in the third person this much? I can see. So Moses, the servant of the Lord, died there in the land of Moab. Did he just write about his own death? I need a bomb sound or something. Drops mic and walks off stage. What the heck? He didn't write none of this, y'all. All of this stuff is a watered down, copied version of the stories that we already told. You can't write about your own death. And I'm just going to leave it at that. You feel me? All this stuff is fabricated, man. And I'm sorry that a lot of people are holding on to it and latching on to it. And they try to ask me, well, what am I supposed to believe in? I can't give you all the answers. I don't have all the answers. I'm still searching. I just know that this is lies. And now I have to unlearn everything that I learned and learn anew. But even when you go to the scripture, it says, when I was a child, I believed in childish things. And as I grew, I shared childish things and something to the such. You know, we're supposed to grow and we're supposed to get into the sciences and studies of the philosophies, of the theologies, of the literature, whatever you want to call it. Because all they doing is taking our stuff, repackaging it, and giving it back to us. And I'm not saying everything came out of Egypt either, because Sargon wasn't from Egypt. He had a kingdom in Mesopotamia. You see what I'm saying? He was Akkadian. They've taken stories from over time, from multiple sources and multiple cultures, and used it because they don't have a culture. They just got here. Do you see what I'm saying? And then tried to tell you that you have no history, tried to erase your history and tell you was a savage walking around barefoot, not knowing we had a culture, we had government, we had arts, we were masterful builders, scientists, and have you thinking that your history starts with slavery if you have a 12th grade high school education. You're not getting this. You're not getting this at your basic level of high school. Even in college, you have to take a comparative religious class, a comparative religion and philosophy 101. Philosophy 101, comparative religion 101. And then there's comparative religion 102 at your local community college right now. You can get all of this. It's not hidden. Again, like I told you, Egyptology. They've made a whole science around the study of everything Egypt. Not to say everything goes to Egypt, but they've made a whole study around the science. That lets you know that there's something there, and they're going to try to demonize it and tell you to stay away from it. Like, no, don't look here. Like, what? Don't study science. Don't study what you guys have made a science of? Why wouldn't I? They've taken our sciences, our math, our arithmetic, our study of the cosmos, and magic, and are using it to rule the world, and got you thinking magic ain't real. And you using it on yourself every day the wrong way. We cast negative spells on ourselves every day. Every time we say something negative about ourselves, you casting a spell on yourself, and it's just become reality. But since you don't think magic is real, you don't realize what you're doing. So you can't even defend yourself against it because they got you not even believing in your own stuff. The power of manifesting works both ways. It works when you speak negatively, and it works when you speak positively. The power is in the word, right? Ye are gods, right? You see what I'm saying? That's why I'm saying keep your Bibles. Don't get rid of your Bibles, because a lot of keys are still in there. It's all our information repackaged and given right back to us. They couldn't get rid of everything good. They had to give you something for you to latch on to. And then they had to usurp themselves as the face of God. That's why you see all the white Jesuses everywhere, knowing that it's all bogus. This stuff is bogus. Moses is bogus. How you write about your own death? And once you kick the chair up under Moses, none of these books have a leg to stand on. And I didn't even go hard on you, Moses. I was fighting you with one hand today because there's so much more I could have dropped on you. I could have dropped way more than this on Moses. You feel me? I kept it light. I'm keeping it brief today. This is my podcast one, Astral Projection. Again, shout out everybody who tuned in. I'm not out of here yet, but thank y'all. You know what I'm saying? I appreciate y'all. Thank y'all for rocking with me. But once you kick the leg and the chair from up under Moses, none of these books have a leg to stand on. You don't have Christianity without the Torah. And the first five, you don't have Christianity without Genesis, without Exodus, all of these stories. And then Jesus comes back. But then after that, you have Jesus inside of the Quran as one of the messengers, followed by Muhammad. The story doesn't just end here. What kills me is I can see people being a believer of the first book, like, no, all the other stuff is fake. I can see people being a believer of this book and saying the story doesn't end here. What kills me is the people who are stuck on book 2 of the trilogy and refuse to read book 1 or the book after, because they were born into a family that believed this. Y'all got to remember how we got these religions. We got these religions under servitude. We got these religions under some of the worst conditions we've ever encountered in life. It would be different if we got these books under, great conditions. We had our feet kicked up and we were sipping margaritas. But the people who gave us this information were also simultaneously enslaving us, using us for free labor, raping us and murdering us and stealing our wealth and land. And these are the books that we run to. Like, we hate everything about slavery except Christianity. We hate everything about slavery except the Catholic Church. We hate everything about slavery except Jesus. And they know that they gave us these books to keep us docile, because one day, if we don't have this, we're going to wake up, want our land back, and figure out what birthright is and how we're the heirs to the land that we're standing on. Do you see what I'm saying? So they have to keep you lost in debate. And that's why they got so many religions and so many different sects of religions. Even the Christians can't get jiggy with it. Even all the Christians don't agree with the same stuff. Same thing with the Muslims. They got different sects of Muslims and Islam. Even all of them don't agree on all the stuff. So they branched off and created different groups of Islam. Same thing with the Torah. You have the traditional Jews, the Orthodox, unorthodox. You have different, even all of them don't agree, because none of the stuff in here adds up. And if this is supposed to be God's word, why isn't it clear? This would be clear. God wouldn't put a word down here that creates so much confusion and then say believe when he gave us minds to think with. If you're not using the mind God gave you, you're doing an injustice to him and yourself. God wouldn't put me here with this mind and tell me not to use it. Keep it docile. Don't question. Just believe. Just have faith. I have faith that there's a higher power, but I don't have. This book is bogus, man. All of this stuff is bogus. I just showed you the whole story of 10 Commandments. Moses should have told God on that mountain, like, yo, fam, they already got this. My people's already doing this. We doing this right now. They got this plus 38, 39 other ones, fam. What is you talking about? They got 32 other commandments already, Lord. You only, them 10 is in there, but it's easy to follow the 10. And maybe that's why the world is the way it is today. You feel me? Maybe that's why the world is the way it is today, because we need more than 10. I don't think 10 enough. My favorite one down here, number 35, I have not polluted the water. We already got all type of oil spills, pipelines. Man, they are destroying this planet, man. And this was, you had to say this 5 times a day. I have not used evil thoughts, words, or deeds because they knew the power of the word. They knew the power of the thought. They knew the power of frequency and vibration. I have not falsely accused anyone. That's one y'all need to work on a lot. Y'all just be making up anything about anybody out here. I have not placed myself on a pedestal. I stay humble. I know that I'm one of the all. And the all, I'm part of the all, and the all is part of me. I know that I'm part of the collective consciousness. And no, I'm above nobody. And nobody's beneath me either. No matter what I achieve or what I accomplish. You see what I'm saying? Like, I don't know, that's just my mentality, though. I'm going to always be the same person, no matter how much bread I get. You're not going to know if I got $10, or you're not going to know if I got 10 million. I mean, I'm going to have a few nicer things if I had 10 million. But personality-wise, I treat the janitor with the same respect that I treat the CEO with. And I pay attention to the people around me and make sure that they're the same way. Because that means if I fell off, you would shit on me. If you shitting on anybody that you see because they not doing as well as you. I have not stolen anyone's land. This is probably number 42 is the main reason that these Caucasians had to get rid of this. They couldn't follow the 42 laws of Mayat. They had every intention on giving us religion and us giving them the land. That was their whole strategy. When they came in, look, got to understand. When they came in to conquer North America, South America, Africa, if you want to use that term, formerly known as Ethiopia and a couple other names. When they came in to conquer these places, they did, before they conquered physically, they had to conquer us spiritually and have us separated within ourselves. Imagine this. We have one tribe. They don't know anything about any of that stuff. They come in and start giving people religions, separating them from each other. We have one family, one tribe. Half of us start becoming Christian, and then the people that don't want to become Christian, now we call them non-believers, heathens, kafirs, etc. Whatever the word you want to use, and deem them to hell and as people that we shouldn't associate with. Religion has just torn the whole family apart or a tribe apart, and it'll be the same people, and now they're beefing with each other. Religion is a weapon. It has always been a weapon. And shout out to people who use Christianity in a positive way. I do a lot of community events, and it's a lot of Christians there doing a lot of good for the community. And I'm not trying to completely shit on all of y'all, because a lot of y'all, it's innocent. You know what I'm saying? Ignorance is innocence. But with knowledge comes responsibility. And it's my job to spread this to y'all. And now, if you've heard this, it's your job to be responsible for this knowledge as well. You see what I'm saying? So Christianity has always been a weapon that's been used to come soften the land before they attack and try to take it from us and have us divided against ourselves. You feel me? You got to figure, when some people is coming in, Constantine and them. First it was the Greeks, then it was the Romans that came in and invaded Egypt. You got to figure, man, dude, like I got all these troops and I'm about to go take over, and we got to set some rules, and everybody's about to follow these rules. The rules that were implemented were religion. You got taxes, which is the extortion of the people in there, aka tithes. And you had, the people who enforced it were the knights of the temple, aka Knights Templar Knights. You see what I'm saying? And the high priests were supposed to be the only ones who could talk to God. You had to go to them and pay your dues to them, tithes to them, to get your blessings, and to, you it's a middleman through they became the middleman. It's funny, man. It sounds like a lot like a business to me. You break bread, I'm the middleman. You want to talk to my mans to get your blessings? I got you. I'm about to bless you, fam. Did you bring your bread? 10% of what you made this month? I got you. Don't worry. You good. This man, look, this is how the game go. You feel me? They stole our shit, repackaged it, and gave it right back to us, man. And I appreciate y'all for tuning in, man. I lost my lighter. That lightweight shorten this podcast for y'all, because if I could have smoked, you know, so it's stretched out a little bit longer. But this is Moses 1. Where did Moses find the 10 Commandments? Moses exposed. He was learning all the ways of the Egyptians. There's no way that he couldn't have known this information. And I appreciate y'all for tuning in, man. Love, peace, and blessings. High frequencies to y'all. Tap in, DM me. If you got any questions, if you got any ideas for a future podcast you want to see, if you want to drop a podcast on the channel, if you want to hop on the podcast, fuck with me, man. I didn't hit y'all with the banner. That's funny. I was so into the presentation. Oh, that was it. Okay. I never hit y'all with to go follow my Astro Projections YouTube channel. I need to get my followers up. I just started it yesterday. I think I got 3 followers, y'all. Help me get my followers up. Share this video. Share. Hit it. Give me a thumbs up. Like this. And I'm going to keep dropping this for you. They call me Mr. Receipts, man. I'm just coming with receipts. If you can't bring receipts, I don't want to hear nothing you got to say. And you can't bring the Bible as a receipt. The Bible isn't a receipt. You need receipts to substantiate what's in the Bible. That's the only way you can come to me. Don't come to me with nothing out the Bible to prove that the Bible is real. It doesn't work like that. You can't prove to me Spider-Man is real by bringing me a Spider-Man comic. I love y'all. Have a good week. See y'all in a few days with this Easter episode. We out. That was a throwback podcast by your man, by me, A1. Y'all already know how we coming. Um, Check me out tonight, 8 p.m. I'm showing y'all that Jesus was gay. I'm bringing out all the historic evidence, and I'm bringing out the receipts. I'm bringing out all the documentation. Y'all already know how I'm coming. Let's go. See y'all tonight. Love y'all.